So, okay, so you've obviously read Amazing Fantasy 15, right?
You're changing the subject that correlates to...
Wait, you have read Amazing Fantasy 15, right?
I don't see how that has anything to do with all the...
Are you aware of Amazing Fantasy 15?
Your question isn't in good faith, so I don't have to...
Have you heard of Amazing Fantasy 15, Derek?
The question is, have you read Fantastic Fantasy?
Well, only a totally fake comic book fan, you know, like someone who tells people to call him the Black Stan Lee, would not know the significance of Amazing Fantasy 15. You're a fake comic nerd, Derek, and a grifter. You just sell bits of YouTube merch in the shape of comics. And you're also a noisy, low IQ moron who can't answer simple questions without melting down. Is that about the right description of the situation, Derek? Have I got that right?
Oh yeah. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? What's your shoe size?
Haha, what?
Where was your grandparents' country of origin, huh?
Are you serious? Who?
Running away. Y'all gonna bounce now. Y'all gonna run off like a pussy, huh?
Listen, as soon as I cut the feed, the first thing you're going to do anyway is carry on streaming on your own, shout and bark, and celebrate to your moronic subscribers that you've had some kind of fictional huge win, and generally lose your mind in public. Live, right?
That's not anything I would personally do, not the kind of thing I'm even known to do. I'm not that kind of person.
Right, cool. Good night, idiot.
And another thing, this white bread motherfucker saw light. I'm a grifter, you're a grifter. Y'all read some amazing bullshit. You divorced ass white as I bet you're overweight motherfucker. Look at me, look at me. Look at my fucking arms. I'm a strong man.
We got to talk about this diamond distribution situation.
Yeah, because all comic books are now going to flop. Like,
they've ended, and they're destroying the comic book industry. I was just listening to Mr. Eric July and his chubby friend talking about this stuff, and like when this guy talks about Eric, he doesn't say anything. He's saying stuff like it's all designed to like make stupid people think he's saying something relevant. So he's like, you know, these comic book companies wouldn't even be here anymore if it wasn't for the fact that DC and Marvel did these restructuring thing years ago or whatever. And it's like, okay, you know, and they wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for these mega corporations that own them. Like, yeah, sure. Okay. What's your fucking point, man? Like, what is this? That doesn't say anything. It's like, if things were different, things would be different.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's kind of clear Diamond, you know, they had monopoly. They had complete control, and over the past few years, they've been losing it. And I that's almost certainly has to do with why they filed bankruptcy. It's pretty simple, honestly.
Well, I mean, we could go. We could go watch if you wanted. If you guys really wanted to understand what's going on with that stuff. The oh god, the Sauska twins are on this one stream that's on right now. Comic Tropes did a video years ago that breaks down the monopoly that Diamond still had at the time that he made the video, and how it became that way, because there were other distributors at certain points, and that basically they just got, you know, went out of business or whatever, and then, you know, Diamond was kind of just pulled the Vince McMahon WWE and bought a, you know, kind of went in all these other regions where there were distributors, and was like yoink yoink, and made exclusive deals with Marvel and DC and stuff like that, to the point where they were just the only one left. And yeah, it's it wasn't great, because for a lot of reasons, because they were the only game in town, and basically Marvel and DC was beholden to them. But then COVID happened, and first it was DC. I remember I made a video about it, saluting. I was like, dude, this is fucking big news. This is like only the first domino to fall. If DC is breaking loose, it's not going to be long now. And sure enough, within a year or something, Marvel announced they were doing distribution with Penguin Random House. DC doing their own. It was about 13 minutes in that he was saying this dumb shit. Let's see.
Through their network. But he says, earlier today, Diamond made the difficult but necessary decision to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This step is intended to stabilize our financial foundation and protect the most vital aspects of our business. This decision was not made lightly, and I understand that this news may be as difficult to hear as it is for me to share. The Diamond leadership team and I have worked tirelessly to avoid this outcome, but the financial challenges we face have left us no other viable option. Chapter 11 will provide us the opportunity to restructure and address our financial obligations. This process will likely include the sale of key assets, which is interesting, of Diamond Comic Distributors. We have already
it's a
received
bankruptcy. Yes, they do that.
Of course, to purchase Alliance Game Distributors, coupled with a signed letter of intent to purchase Diamond UK, which may impact ass.
Birth, refinance. When for the last 15 odd years, there've just been a consistent financial shit.
Restructuring, shifting,
shifting, trying to sell off, birth, refinancing,
Right.
Wait, talking.
2000
of intent to purchase Diamond UK, which may impact ass. And we remain committed to
be buying fucking mainstream comics.
Well, that's also true. Committed to pursuing offers for all Diamond lines of business. What does this mean for you? I want to reassure you that with secure financing in place to support our operation, Diamond Comic Distributors is committed to continuing business as usual.
Sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
What year was this letter written in? 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. This is the history of fucking Diamond since God knows when. For the last 15 odd years, there've just been a consistent financial.
Huh?
I don't think that's true at all.
No, Diamond's had monopoly on the business for a while.
You don't have a monopoly and struggle in a business. Those two things don't equate.
Yeah.
Fucking
Mr. Southback trade paper here.
I'm wondering if they're even mentioning who Diamond no longer distributes for, because it is extremely fucking relevant. And I'm wondering if they just don't even mention that shit. You know?
I mean, actually, here, I can.
Shit.
Just got this book today.
Yeah, restructuring.
Oh, I just got this book today. Doctor Who #4. One of the few books I get that is still distributed by Diamond. This book was over a month old. They ordered it. Not, huh?
Like they were behind. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So for anybody, we got 36 people watching now. For anybody that's unaware, as Morgan said, Diamond had, and like I said before, there's a Comic Tropes video that lays all this out, how it became a monopoly, how it stayed that way for a long time, up until 2020, I think it was 2020, when DC walked. Because, with all the industry going through, with every industry going through what was going through during COVID and shit, DC said, you know what, this is our time to just fucking break free from this. And it was a good move, seemingly. They broke free from Diamond and said, we're going to do our own distributing. Within a year or so later, Marvel, same thing. They partnered with Penguin Publishing. So they distribute their own shit now, both of those. And guess what? Those are you look at the sales of the comic book industry, and they are, mainly it's Marvel. DC is second, even though they're lagging behind pretty far from Marvel.
DC is picking up a bit with the absolute titles, but
that's great. But those two make up the vast majority of comic books sold in the U.S. and through comic book stores, anywhere else. And so for those two to walk, that was essentially the writing on the wall for Diamond, because, and you know what? Let's just go ahead and hear these phone calls that I made. So in case you missed the setup, I called a couple of local comic book shops yesterday. And here is the recordings of that. Hello?
What's your picture? This is Nick.
Hi, my name is Dane, and I'm doing a report on just kind of the state of the comics industry and everything. And with the news today that Diamond is filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy, I just wondered if you guys might have any comment on that or how it might affect you, if at all.
No comment on it, really. It doesn't affect us as much because we've been going to different distributors, so.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been gathering from others as well. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Hi, my name is Dane, and I'm doing a report on comics and the state of the industry. And with the news today about Diamond filing Chapter 11. And by the way, that first one that I talked to was called Books with Pictures. They're a local Portland shop that caters to, if any chud saw this comic shop, they would think it's the wokest comic book shop ever. They cater almost more to kids and LGBT people and female readers and stuff than they do. Like they got the superhero stuff, it's there, but it's not the majority of the story like most comic book stores. They have like, you know, all kinds of programs for reading with kids and stuff like that. I bet they even have like a drag reading thing or something too. Dun dun dun. Yeah. The books with pictures, if anybody wanted to check and make sure I'm not fucking falsifying these calls or something, right? Like you can call them and ask them. And then this one is Cosmic Monkey Comics. I just want to see if you guys had any comment on that or if it'll affect you at all.
I mean, it's going to affect everybody. But,
sure.
I mean, we've moved a lot of our stuff away from Diamond, but we still get stuff through them. There's companies that are exclusive, like Dynamite Distillery, Titan. I can't remember. There's some other.
Dynamite and Titan are the two that he could remember. I'm sure there's a couple of others, but there's very small publishers. Not to say they're not worth considering or anything, but I'm just saying that like the degree to which this Diamond thing affects comic books, mainstream comic books, is almost nil.
Yeah.
The only things that really, as he says in a second, is the Previews magazine, which is what comic shops order their comics through. They get the Previews magazine, seasonally, I think it is, and like, I don't know how much ahead of time, but it shows everything that's going to be coming out from all the publishers. Here's what they're planning, and then that's where they decide, I'm going to order this many copies of this because my clientele will want to read this, or they won't read this, or whatever, and yeah.
So we still get those comics through them, and the Previews catalog comes through them. So we're always that's helpful for selling stuff.
Well, it sounds like they're going to try and set you guys up before before anything major happens. Is from what I read, but
and filing for bankruptcy like that usually takes like a year to 2 years to sort itself out.
Sure. So
and they're going to keep working while they're selling off Diamond UK and Alliance, but it's going to keep. They're still going to hopefully keep doing stuff. Sounds like that's what they say. They're going to work through it.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, thankfully, at least the big two aren't with them anymore. I guess that's kind of the problem for them, but still,
Yeah.
But all right, I appreciate your time very much. Have a good day. There you go. Some actual journalism work I did there, because that's what, and I knew this is what they were going to be doing, was whinging over comic shops more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they just, as we saw, like, what was it, last year, whenever that guy went viral, and then suddenly Mark Millar was in on everything, and
Mm-hmm.
They.
Yeah, I remember that guy going viral, and it was.
And they act like they give a shit about comic shops, and look, comic shops do close, they do.
Yes,
and
they do.
However, sometimes they open up too. Other ones open up, and at the same time, brick and mortar shops close a lot these days.
Yeah,
any kind of
bookstores in general.
Bookstores in general, like you have to be willfully ignorant or dishonest to not see that these things are not in a vacuum. If your mind is literally just like, comic books are woke and have agendas now, DEI, therefore comic book shops are closing, you're just a dipshit, or you're dishonest. It's stupid.
Absolutely. I mean, it's weird. It's all closing down, because I was about to say, it used to be you couldn't walk into a mall without seeing a bookstore. And now it's tough to even find a fucking mall. Brick and mortar is suffering. It's an issue. Amazon's undercutting everybody, and it's Amazon's even a weird business model.
That's this too, Screwface, and it'd be the same exact thing, because I think they even complain about it in the stream. How comic shops they got so much other crap they sell now, and that's true. A lot of them, Funko Pops have kept some comic shops afloat, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, but it's the same thing with video game stores. You can't find them really anymore where they're like not also selling other shit, because they're just doing what they have to do to survive. And it's not, this is the grift is because of this changing state of consumption of media and things like that, whether it's video games, movies, comics, because of that. And you have a influx industry. All three of these are in flux. It's a grifter's playground, because they can go to ignorant people or people that want to believe certain narratives, about queer people or whatever, and then they can just say, yeah, it's because of that. It's like, never mind the fucking chaos of the industry that's going on right now. Never mind COVID. Never mind, all this other shit. But anyway.
Like I brought this up before, but this is based on just going to a comic shop. If I had to guess market share, essentially, I'd guess Marvel's 40-45% in market share, and DC's probably 30%, and the rest is everybody else. And even everybody else, everybody else isn't even all on Diamond, because Valiant isn't on Diamond, Image isn't on Diamond. It might, this is probably part of why Diamond's filing for bankruptcy. Lots of, and honestly, I think it's a good thing. And honestly, I think Diamond, I'm not saying Diamond should die, but I think, obviously they need to scale back and work on actually, just being a better company, honestly, because having a monopoly is bullshit, in my opinion.
Yeah, they care about that? Probably not. Probably not. No, they only care about what they can grift about. And I just wanted to get a little bit more into this, because this right here is where I started hearing them say this dumb shit. I mean, they're already saying dumb shit, but
shiftering, trying to sell off,
shifting. They're shifting. You hear that?
Yeah,
they're shifting. They're probably shifting their softback trade papers too.
True.
Sing da da da.
Right. And they say our plan is to continue fulfilling orders in a complete and timely fashion, and we are working hard to minimize any disruptions to your orders. We'll be transparent as possible during this process, and we'll keep you informed of significant developments, which there will be more of those. And if you have some questions, blah, blah, blah. Basically, with Universal having that, I have committed to that, and as well as them, that they are going to be looking for other aspects of their company and assets that are associated with Diamond to be basically sold off. So for sure, it's going to impact you. They can say that they're going to continue, which is the best thing for them to do, as usual, but that could absolutely be disrupted depending on who buys what and, what assets belong to who. So it's going to be a fundamental change. Okay.
Did anything he say there make any specific sense?
I mean, it seems like he's trying to imply that, it's going to affect you. And it's it's going to affect probably my Doctor Who comic book reading.
You heard the second guy in particular said it's going to affect everybody, but the thing is to such a small degree that it's they don't even really care.
Yeah.
This is that's something, 3 years ago, I'm sorry, I guess 5 years ago, this would have been extremely disruptive to the industry.
Yeah.
If it somehow, but they couldn't have happened. That's the ironic. They couldn't have happened 5 years ago because they still fucking had Marvel and DC. That was their lifeblood. They lost them because they were fucking shitty company to, Marvel and DC got their stacks up and corporate backing, and they're like, you know what, we'll fucking do this ourselves. Eric July should understand that. They let's just say this. They decided to rip us into it.
I mean, it really seems like Diamond essentially, got full of themselves because they did have a monopoly. And then, when they started losing it, they seemed like they were still going business as usual, which is why probably a lot of the orders ran late and shit like that. And it caused a lot of other businesses to go, I don't want to work with you.
They don't allow returns, which, I don't know if Marvel and DC independently are doing anymore. I know that there are some titles that, they have offered returns on. I would be better if they were able to do that line wide. But if you're not aware what that means, it's so for the longest time, the process was in the comics industry was you would order a bunch of comics. If you're a comic shop owner, you'd order X number of this title or whatever, thinking that's going to sell this much, and then sometimes they won't sell that much, and then you're left with a bunch of books you can't sell, right? And so for the longest time, what they would do is they were able to send those books back. They would return them. They'd have to tear the cover off. For whatever reason, but they could send them back and shit, or and then basically they stopped doing that. And now, or at least with Diamond more recently, they did no returns. So if you just, order wrong, and it's basically a gamble, as a comic shop owner, I'm going to order this much, and it's I fucking gambled wrong, and now I'm stuck with a stack of shit I can't sell. But who's not stuck with a sack of shit he can't sell? Eric Debunks.
Not currently.
Subtle.
Were you guys watching a clip? I kind of just saw a little bit when I came.
Yeah. Let's listen to listen to this business acumen on display.
Fundamentally, it is going to be a change, and I think that's worth discussing. Now, the reason why I wanted the show is going to be heavy on this topic because this means a lot, obviously, for who they distribute to. Most of that being comic book shops. Now, if you don't mind me having the floor here for a little bit, because I got to
go for it.
I got to break
I'll
break a
just
lot
see how
down.
my football team's doing.
Yeah, do that. You're perfect. So I've been on record. There's a video that I did end up resharing where I discussed a lot of this, where the economic illiteracy of the comic book industry, I think is the name of it, or something like that.
Yeah.
It never made sense, and it was always on a house of cards. Anybody that says that.
You just said his video never made sense?
What?
I think he said that he made a video on the economic literacy of the comic industry, and it never made sense.
Is lying, okay? When it exists for so long, Az brought up a great point earlier when he said this.
Okay, guys, I really want you to pay attention to the words he's saying, and when he's done, whenever we stop, I want you to tell me what you gained from, like, what understanding, what logic, whatever. What did you gain from what he said here?
Always been this constant shifting and moving stuff around. You're put under the illusion that it's working for a couple of reasons. It exists, right? And while that is the case, you were spoiled, and had it not been for who went through their own set of like restructuring and everything, the big two, this whole thing would have collapsed a long time ago.
If things had gone differently, things would have been different.
But what? I almost feel like he's trying to say if Marvel and DC had stayed with Diamond won't be filing for bankruptcy. And
I don't think he's even trying to say anything that specific, man. I think because he mentions the corporate.
Well, I mean,
ownership.
I will say, if that's his point, hard disagree.
Yeah.
It gave you the illusion that it was working when it was always on a house of cards in the first place. And it's not just pertaining to distribution. It's the industry at large. Okay. Right. Because none of it ever made sense. In fact, Marvel and DC being associated with who they had been is not just, Disney. They had been going through. I mean, obviously, look, let's take a step back. A lot of people forget in the 90s, Marvel went bankrupt.
We didn't forget that. Nobody forgot that.
Okay?
Who forgot that?
It's a very common thing. Anybody that gives a shit about even the MCU, because the MCU's story is directly born from that fact. And the fact that they had to sell off all their assets, and that's why Iron Man was the first movie.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the biggest issue in the 90s was the shipping of comics. I think it was
absolutely wasn't.
It really was the idea that comics were now collectibles and they lost value because they were overproducing comic books. That was the problem.
I mean, they shipped the fuck out of those overproduced comics. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there was any real problems. They were
so if he were not being deceptive or either stupid, or a little bit of both, he should know that as someone that was collecting comics back in the 90s and runs a business with comic books now.
I'm going to run this back because when he starts saying it and stuff, and it's like, what is he even referring to?
Well, he doesn't finish a thought. He keeps stopping. He'll go, and the problem. Well, you know what? The thing is, he doesn't finish anything that he's saying.
We're spoiled, and had it not been for who went through their own set of restructuring and everything, the big two, this whole thing would have collapsed a long time ago. It gave you the illusion that it was working when it was always on a house of cards in the first place. And it's not just pertaining to distribution. It's the industry at large. Okay. Right. Because none of it ever made.
So explain what doesn't make sense then. That's the next thing. You should explain what you mean.
Yeah. It's and for anybody that isn't aware why he does this, it's because his entire goal is to create the Rippaverse as just an alternative, parallel
Amazon shipping for comic books. That's what he wants it to be.
Yeah.
He wants to have he wants to take money away, and I can prove it. I'll pull up the clip in just a second, but
with who they had been, it's not just Disney. They had been going through. I mean, obviously, look, let's take a step back.
See,
a lot of people forget
again. Didn't finish what he was saying,
or was about to.
Yeah.
Okay, it was 97 if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
No.
Toy Biz kind of stepped in, Pearl Mutter, all those guys. So that wasn't that long ago. It's in most of you guys' lifetimes. Okay.
Long ago.
We know at Warner, their
30
constant restructuring, right? Once between that AOL, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. It was a
just referencing terms.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like,
there's no. He's not making any points. He's
not saying anything.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
there's
He's
no
just saying random things.
No through line. It's just saying, AOL, because I know that AOL is all connected in there too, and I know that Toy Biz had something to do with it, and Pearl Mutter, and I mentioned them, and then to an idiot, they think because I'm mentioning these terms and these names that I'm saying something.
Listen, Marvel filed for bankruptcy in the 90s, and then Warner Brothers has been restructuring.
Well, because of
Marvel
AOL,
has
and then
been
had Pearl Mutter in there,
X-Men to
and
Fox.
But
And
look,
then
hold on. Then you
Spider-Man
got,
goes to Sony,
then
and
you
then
got the Clone
Batman
Saga,
is Warner
okay?
Brothers.
And then then you had Onslaught was in there. He came along, and you had Heroes Reborn.
He
and then look, then Lifeboat
punches
started.
Juggernaut in the face.
God damn it! Oh, I'm never gonna be able to. I'm gonna have
a lot of restructuring that they've done over the years.
Yeah.
As well. And DC's been maybe tied to it longer, but if they had not been attached to these mega corporations, the comics, I'm not speaking to other things, would not probably existed. Okay.
What does that have to do with anything? See, that's the closest thing to the point.
But Dane, if anything, that just goes against what he's talking about, because he's saying that if these mega corporations did not support these brands, no one would know about these brands. So he's arguing that in order for a brand to be massively successful, it needs a mega corporation. That's the statement he's making here.
Famously, because Marvel was like a nothing brand, Disney bought it for like $5, right?
Right.
They didn't spend billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars, right.
Now I want to play this clip here to back up what I was saying as far as like why he's doing this. Why does he feel it's so important to get on here and just say nonsense, whether he knows he is or not? I kind of don't think that I don't know that he does really know. He just knows these terms loosely, and he's been doing it long enough that he knows he can just kind of fucking yap and throw out terms and sound like he knows what he's talking about. But check this out.
Got work to do. Like tanking on one movie, that's not enough. There's power in the customers, but customers have to have some sort of awareness, self-awareness, as far as what you maybe contribute to this. Can you replace that Disney thing that you rely on to have a good time with something else? I think you can.
That's him admitting it right there, that's his whole thing. Is like, I want to replace the shit that people are buying, partly because it's woke or whatever, but really just because I want to make more. I want to make the money.
Just say that though. If you want to be a competitor to somebody business wise, just say that. Why do we need all of these like roped around, beat around the bush type shit?
Okay. I think for a long time it made sense for them to stick around. It was a source of material for them to do other stuff with that they could make money off of, right? But don't for once think that a lot of these comics have been profitable, okay, for the publisher. That is, maybe there are outliers, the Batmans of the world for sure, but for the most part, it's not like they're just rolling in dough versus what they're spending versus what they're getting back. It's just that it had been tied to this mega corporation for a very long time. 2020 happens.
What does this mean to anybody?
Pandemic thing.
What does this mean to any person? To anybody? What does this
mean to the fucking Diamond distribution thing? Because he's talking about Marvel and DC who haven't been with them for at least 4 years now.
Right.
They haven't been distributed by them. So like he's just yapping nonsense.
Isn't Diamond primarily doing indie stuff now?
So did you hear the I'll play him again real quick because I made a couple of calls.
I mean, they have a couple of companies, but like, most
Dynamite
companies are not with
and then like
anymore.
Titan and some kind of small books, which
but not the big two, right? Not Marvel and DC.
No.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Oh yeah, this is a Titan.
Hi, my name is Dane, and I'm doing a report on just kind of the state of the comics industry and everything. And with the news today that Diamond is filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy, I just wondered if you guys might have any comment on that or how it might affect you, if at all.
No comment on it, really. It doesn't affect us as much because we've been going to different distributors, so.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been gathering from others as well. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Hi, my name is Dane, and I'm doing a report on comics and the state of the industry. And with the news today about Diamond filing Chapter 11, I just want to see if you guys had any comment on that or if it'll affect you at all.
I mean, it's going to affect everybody. But,
Sure.
I mean, we've moved a lot of our stuff away from Diamond, but we still get stuff through them. There's companies that are exclusive, like Dynamite Distillery, Titan. I can't remember. There's some other ones too, but so we still get those comics through them, and the
Sure.
previous catalog comes through them. So we're always that's helpful for selling stuff.
Well, it sounds like they're gonna try and set you guys up before before anything major happens. Is from what I read, but
and filing for bankruptcy like that usually takes like a year to 2 years to sort itself out.
sure.
So and they're going to keep working while they're selling off Diamond UK and Alliance, but it's going to keep. They're still going to hopefully keep doing stuff.
I was going to say, it doesn't mean they're closing shop. Or anything
Alrighty.
like that.
Well, I mean, thankfully, at least the big two aren't with them anymore. I guess that's kind of the problem for them, but still,
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, I appreciate your time very much. Have a good day. So yeah, literally the thing that he's not telling, and he's technically just overtly lying by omission. Marvel and DC aren't with him, which is the reason they ended up in this position. Diamond.
I mean, he's talked about how Batman, it's not selling enough. It's like Batman has nothing to do with Diamond anymore.
Sure, you have already said that a few times, actually, Derek. You don't actually answer questions, though. You just talk around in circles.
I do not. I expressly said, did I not, that to the point that what I said previously to that.
Okay, we're going off track again. My answer to what I think you're mumbling about is that I think your only issue with Miles Morales is that he's black. Right?
What I said was, and this is not exclusively to the point that I previously made that pertains to the subject matter at hand, which if you've been listening to the original statement that...
Good Lord, you really are an idiot. Okay, let's go back to the start here.